just about. As Juan Oroz, who's engineering the cars here. Hugo Vallant behind him on the pit wall. 3 cars for Campos Racing. No new Seat coming next year, no new BMW coming next year as well. There is going to be a new Chevy, we understand, from RML, with the official approval of Chevrolet. Yellow flags out in the second sector, which is where they are now. It's this long, long run from going into Lisboa until exiting the Melco hairpin. So that is almost half the lap in sector 2. How long does it take to get through? 1.5 minutes. Meanwhile, second place, Thiago Monteiro still holding away Rob Huff. Michelitz has got away from McDowell and Nash. And James Nash does not need to do anything now. It's sort of a bit tantalising, isn't it? If he makes a move on McDowell, he goes from 6th to 5th. That's really not enough to make much of a difference in the overall championship running. He needs 30 points from the weekend, 25 for a win, 18 and 15. Minimum he needs is 2 third places. Passing McDowell is not going to get him close enough for a third place. It's not enough.
Oh yeah, Martin, he does need all the points he can get, because in the fight for third overall in the championship, Nash is there and he needs every point he can get.
Well, Tarquini's out, but is likely to remain second. Chilton's out, so Nash does not need to throw away this result, because he's only 7 points behind Tom, and he'll get more than that for finishing where he is now in 6th position, and he'll claim the Yokohama trophy. There's his dad.
Yeah, but he's a racer, Martin.
Yeah, he is a racer, but sometimes, Matt, not taking that last position is vital. Now then. Yes, you can slap it square, but you've still slapped it. So I'm afraid that, in fact, he's got 2 front punctures, Chalco. That's just a nightmare. And look, the car is shedding tyres and bits left, right and centre. He's going as slow as he dares, but both tyres have lost their air. He's going to have to pull over somewhere. The stewards will show him a black and orange flag, but that's rather redundant. The race leader is coming up behind him as well. Here comes Ivar Muller. What debris is he going to see? He'll see the white flag soon enough to warn him of a slow-moving car. He sees the detritus in the road, and so too do Montero and Huff.
Last thing Muller needs now is a puncher off that
Yeah,
lap.
Exactly right. Lap 8 of 9, last lap coming up, and Ivan's still pushing hard enough to be locking up there down into Donna Maria. You can hear Chalco in the Seat right in front, grinding his way out of the hairpin. Still yellow flags. And then they get to the green there by the Yokohama banner, and they go by Chalco. Well, he's not going to finish the race, I'm afraid, the Latvian. But the sooner he can get the car to the pits, the better a chance they have of giving him something that's raceable. So it's going to be Muller, Montero, Huff on your podium. Michelitz is not close enough in 4th place.
Huff's closed the gap again here, Martin.
Yeah.
He could have a go.
He could do. 5th and 6th, McDowell and Nash. I really don't see that order changing unless James Nash has a wild rush of blood to the head on the run to the line. But Huff, who knows, he might just get closer. Last lap for Montero was a 2:32.7, a 2:32.3 for Huffy, and again he's close. But is he going to do it now or try and save the car for race 2? He's going to be further back on the race 2 grid. This is his chance. And Montero goes defensive and goes early. Huff really forcing the issue under braking, trying to get Thiago to brake early or late, but neither worked, and Thiago just about kept that under control.
Yeah, Huffy trying to keep it wide, keep it tight, and Montero got him covered every way, which is good, because I've always questioned Montero's racecraft in the front-wheel drive car, so, but he's certainly under pressure now.
Yeah, isn't he, though? Huff, the outgoing world champion, knows his way around this track. He's won here 5 times and had other wins escape him as well. Think about race 1 last year. Leading, didn't end up with victory in race 1, though. Well, Is Montero going to be able to hold him off? We're getting soon down to the yellow flag area before the Melco hairpin, and after that, I think the Honda's got enough legs on the Seat to be able to out-drag him to the line. There's what remains of Salko's car in the pit lane. So the young Latvian is going to have to pray that his team can do a bit of quick work with the spare wings and the gaffer tape, if they have spare wings. Guaranteed they got lots of gaffer tape. So we lost Thompson, Chilton, Vallant and Salko. Got a couple of cars right at the tail of the field that are in trouble as well, but the battle for second, I think, may be over. If Muller is going to win this one, I think Thiago Montero has enough over Rob Huff now. Huffy was closing all the way around the twisty stuff, but not close enough to make a race of it out of our bend. Through Fisherman's they go. One corner between them and the checkered flag. Muller is in front. Montero can go defensive and avoid the debris. Huff can't go the inside, and he can't go around the outside here. There's just not enough room. It's going to be victory in round 23 for Ivan Muller, second for Montero, third for Huff, fourth Norbert Mikulich, fifth Alex McDowell. Is not enough, because in sixth place, the Yokohama Trophy champion for 2013 is James Nash. Second place for Thiago Montero. Mark Basseng there in seventh, Pepe Oriola in eighth, Daster ninth, Boardman in 10th place. Good result for Tom and the special tuning team. Tom Coronel 11th ahead of Mehdi Banani, Darrell Young, Franz Engsler. All the BMWs in a bit of a slew there from 9th down to 14th just about. Michał Kozlowski, the Lada, finishes in 15th place ahead of René Munich. Yukinori Taniguchi is the first of the Eurosport Asia Trophy drivers home. And I think that means that Yuke ties up that title as well.
And where did they finish? Where were they at the end?
Chris Cronin, Ivan Muller's engineer, having the traditional in-lap debrief with him.
Yeah, quite a display off Muller there. And I mean, behind him, we had some great scraps going on, didn't we? But a good, solid drive off Montero. If he'd have shown Huffy an inch, he would have been through and in.
Absolutely.
So, a good, solid result. Same for Chilton now, but...
It's Tom's mum, Tom's dad.
If you can't break in exactly the same place as qualifying, but when you've got like 6 cars in front, on a street circuit, it always...
Yeah, it's very tough to try and find a way by. And Pepe Oriola will have to try and explain to the stewards what happened between him and Tom Chilton. Clearly, Chilton did feel contact from behind, put him out of the race and out of any chance of claiming second in the championship.
This year, Asia's most legendary race is celebrating. The 60th Macau Grand Prix. This November, 2 weeks of motorsport celebration. Experience the Star River Windsor Arch 60th Macau Grand Prix.
Kenwood. Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and fixtures with Eurosport's Live Score.
Yokohama, your tire.
Ivan Muller wins again. A convincing victory for him. That is his 7th win of the season. He won 9 races in 2012, 8 in 2011, but only the 7th win this season. Thiago Monteiro, the team looking pretty happy with that. Of course, claimed his first win for Honda in Shanghai last race weekend, a couple of weeks ago, and that was a major landmark for him, because he, of course, was the first man to drive a Honda in the World Touring Car Championship run by the current group, and Gabriele Tarquini won a little earlier in the season. Let's hear from our race winner.
The winner's circle of the other cars make their way back to the pits. The race here is not necessarily racing about other people, it's racing against the track, and you did a perfect drive.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a real race against the track, but at the same time, I have all my team behind me, and I am 1,000 times happy to win that race, because first is a Macau race winning victory, and also because it's my last race with the RML team. So how to finish my collaboration with RML with a victory on the better way than that one, there is not, so I'm pleased.
You described it as being a bit of a bogey track for you, a difficult track to really conquer. Do you feel comfortable now?
Oh yeah, I feel comfortable, you know, but still there is a second race, and Macau, you have to be very respectable on that track, because otherwise it will give you the barrier back.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, from 10th place on the grid, which is where he will start race 2, or 9th, because we've taken Gabriele Tarquini out of the equation, so I assume that everybody gets shuffled up and they won't leave a gap on the grid. Even so, even for Muller in his pomp, it's going to be a tough ask at Macau to get to the front row of the grid. Last race for Rob Huff and his engineer Chevy.
I felt after like 3 or 4 laps, the front started to go a little bit, so just backed off enough to get some fresh air. I knew I was quicker than him, and then he started to make a few mistakes, so I thought, okay, 2 laps to go, I started to push, but the last 2 laps I think were really good.
Always good to hear the words that are going on
nice
behind the scene.
there, yeah.
And of course, Wednesday night, if you're watching in Europe on Eurosport, you can catch up with Inside World Touring Cars. And if you're not in Europe, you will be able to see that on the FIA WTCC website. So you can check that out later in the week. The camera crews following a number of the drivers around and getting the real inside view of this weekend. And for those of you that aren't familiar, the green flag, that is the flag of Macau, as you can see from the top banner and from our slew of Macanese drivers. Biggest field of World Touring Car entries that we have ever had in the championship. 34 cars. And James Thompson's car in Parc Fermé, bilingual, English and in the Cyrillic alphabet, so that all the Russian mechanics there are no questions. Because, of course, although, Matt Neal, the cars are back in pit lane, there is a very restricted time in which they can be worked on if you want to preserve your grid position. Just 15 minutes to get the car fixed, fueled, retired, and out of the pit lane, ready for race 2.
That's right, Martin. And they're at the moment what's called in Parc Fermé, where no one, literally no one, once the driver's out of them, he's not allowed to return to the car, and they're sealed. All the doors will be sealed and the bonnet will be sealed with FIA seals. And until the time constraint allows, they have to remain in that situ, and then they get that limited amount of time to work on them before the next race, which I'm not too sure I agree with, because if you've got a wounded car, you want to, you know, prepare it, mend it, get it back on the grid. It's cars on the grid, it's championships at stake, and if the time's there, then why just restrict it to 15 minutes?
Well, they have decided, obviously, that it's to put an extra bit of pressure on the teams and the drivers not to get too wild in race one. But they are the best touring car drivers on the planet, so you would expect them not to anyway. Ivan Muller geeing up his fan club there in the top of the stands. Nice warm afternoon for them to enjoy. And that may be the soberest you're going to see them for some while.
The guy wearing the V's, I think he's left his T-shirt at home.
So race one here in Macau, round 23 of 24 of the 2013 FIA World Touring Car Championship, with the president of the FIA up for re-election this year. He is the only candidate, so that's about as foregone a conclusion as race one here, with Ivan Muller starting imperiously on pole. A couple of people on Twitter wondering if we'd ever get through corner one without a safety car. We got through the whole race without a safety car, despite incidents for Tom Coronel and also for Pepe Oriola. They weren't the only ones, but the major wreckage was for Tom Chilton, and also, of course, right towards the end of the race for our youngest driver. And Chalco coming back in with a pretty badly damaged Seat. This is where it all started for Konstantin Chalco. Clattered into the barriers. We thought he got away with it. A lap later, both tyres letting go. So 6 minutes and 30 seconds until the repair time starts. That is 15 minutes from the beginning repair time to the pit lane closing. If you're not out of the pits at that stage, you are not coming out of the pits onto the grid. Rob Huff gave Thiago Monteiro all the hurry-ups he could. Not enough to get by him for second place. Thiago took second behind Ivan Muller, who claimed win number 7 of the season. The outgoing champion, or the new champion rather, who is going away from RML, claiming what may be his last win in a Chevy. Thiago and friends and family looking pretty happy, waving the Portuguese flag. And another happy man is James Nash, the Yokohama Trophy champion for 2013. He's down with Ben.
So James Nash is the winner of the Yokohama Trophy. James, a very difficult place to do it, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was under a bit of pressure there. I knew I wanted the 3rd overall in the main championship, so I had Tom around me. Made a good start and got in front of him, and Pepe did the work for me, really. He took Tom out, and he also crashed out himself, so it gave me a big gap. Yeah, it was nice to follow Alex home, and he's done a fantastic job as well.
At points you looked faster than Alex. Was there any thought maybe you could overtake?
No, there's no point in risking any moves. I was giving Alex some space to go for Norby, and I would have tried to follow him through, but in the end there was no need, and that's what we need to do, just bring points back and championships. That's what he does.
So British champion and now international champion. Focus now, of course, on the main championship, where you've got a great opportunity to be second.
Yeah, I'll start in front of Tom in this one. I've got to get a good start. It's quite difficult in one of these, so let's go for it, and we'll give it our best shot.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I think Ben's being perhaps a little over-anticipatory. I'm not sure that he's got any chance now of becoming second in the championship and overhauling Gabriele Tarquini. He was 29 points behind. 25, 18, 15, 12. So he is now 17 points behind. He needs to be 3rd in race 2 to get second in the championship. However, he is in front of Tom Chilton for 3rd in the overall standings. And as we've seen, nothing is yet impossible.
WTCC Kenwood.
This year, Asia's most legendary race is celebrating. The 60th Macau Grand Prix. This November, 2 weeks of motorsport celebration. Experience the Star River Windsor Arch 60th Macau Grand Prix.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and fixtures with Eurosport's Live Score.
Yokohama, your tire.
Empty grid spots waiting for the drivers. In a minute and a half, repair time starts, and then the cars will be fueled, retired. Any damage will be repaired. None, of course, for Ivan Moller there, our race winner in race 1.
He's won a lot more than the French rugby team this year, hasn't he?
What do you mean this year? Hey. Mind you, we won't mention the All Blacks, will we? Now,
I think they all played well. I think they all played well in that one.
I think they did play well, but yeah, very close match at Twickenham. Fortress Twickenham has been breached by the best rugby team on the planet at the moment, so hopefully that will give the English team something to think about. Mark Bassing there, having a bit of a think as well about his car. Let's get down to the pit lane and hear again from Ben Constangiris.
One of those championship contenders for second place in the championship was Tom Chilton going into the race. But Tom, you hit the wall. That's what we saw on TV. But I think by the sounds of what James told me, you were helped.
Yeah, I was helped by my friend Beppe Oriola. Don't know if he's my friend anymore. It definitely cost me the championship at the moment. Got a hit quite hard from the back. It was a pointless place to overtake because even if he did get up the inside, he's on the wrong side for the next corner, which is the main straight. So it's completely pointless. I don't know if he just made a massive mistake. The guys are trying to fix my car. You can see there's an awful lot of masking tape, good old-fashioned masking tape all over the car. I think it's quite bent, but I'm going to do my absolute best to get a cracking start. So the reverse grid, I'm starting 4th. James Nash is only 1 point ahead of me now because of that. He's now 3rd and I'm 4th. All I've got to do is finish ahead of James Nash and I get 3rd in the championship. So that's my main goal now.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's the battle. Last year they were Ford teammates with Mike Earl, and this year they are both driving Chevys, one for RML, Tom Chilton, and one for Bamboo. So who is going to end up on top? Well, they start on the same row of the grid, row 2 of the grid. So basically, whichever one finishes in front of the other will be 3rd in the championship. I do think, unless they win it, though, Gabriele Tarquini's runner-up spot in the championship will be preserved, whether he even does a centimetre in racing or not. The president of the FIA, Jean Todt, is with Ben Constangiris.
It's a pleasure to have us with it here in Macau, the FIA president, Jean Todt. Jean, what is your opinion of the old rules and moving into 2014 with a very different spec of rules for World Touring cars?
I would say first, I think it has been a very exciting first hit in this beautiful Macau venue. And of course, next year will be new rules, new championship, new competitors coming, manufacturers, drivers. So it looks very exciting.
And of course, real racing, real cars on a real track, a street track. This is exactly what World Touring Cars is built for, isn't it?
You know, I mean, Touring Car Championship is always very challenging. I think you get a lot of emotion in each kind of racing. And I mean, when you see how many spectators are enjoying that, it's great for the sport.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Monsieur le Président enjoying some good weather and some good racing as well. And for Novo Michelisz, 4th place in race 1, he starts 6th on the race 2 grid. Successful conversion from the Zengo Motorsport BMWs to the Honda this year. And Norby has had a fair degree of tough times with the cars, but he's been on the podiums. Winner in Suzuka in Japan as well for Honda. So that was a big weekend for them and for him. Talking about the runner-up spot in the championship, if Chilton or Nash win the race, all they have to do is tie Tarquini on points, because Gabrielli has had 2 wins. Chilton and Nash have had 2 already. And of course, were they to win, then they would have a 3rd race. So it would work on a tiebreaker for them.
Yokohama, your tire.
The FIA WTCC is delivered by DHL.
The call of the big white. As the days pass, the heartbeat quickens. It's time. Time to face those legendary slopes. To race down the mountain in 4 different disciplines. And with the Winter Olympics on the far horizon, this season will be more competitive than ever. The Alpine Skiing World Cup, live from Levy with the men's slalom, today from 9:45 on Eurosport.
JVC Kenwood.
Vodafone McLaren Mercedes used Mobil high-performance unleaded race fuel to power the MP428's Mercedes V8 engine.
Fuel is important for a number of reasons, one of which is we want a fuel blend that gives us maximum power. It's a primary performance factor on the car. But we also need very high fuel efficiency.
With a ban on refuelling and only 8 engines allowed per car, ExxonMobil engineer their fuel at a molecular level to improve performance as well as fuel efficiency.
With clever use of additives, the engine remains clean and we maintain